let's see. All right, prayerfully this will work at least for a little bit. Thank you guys who are on. We appreciate you. Aman. Hopefully you're doing well today. Um, we give our honor and praise once again to the Most High. We give all praise and honor to Him for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that's able to be honored. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. And hopefully this message reaches you all well once again. Tonight we're going to talk about blessed beyond measure. Blessed beyond measure. Prayerfully this, well, you know what? We already prayed about it. Blessed beyond measure. Blessed beyond measure. People have heard this term before, probably this type of terminology. You hear somebody say, I am blessed beyond measure, right? But for one to be blessed beyond measure and really believe that and really have faith in that, then your works would show up as if you were blessed beyond measure too, right? Even your belief system, your faith would show up to show that you are blessed beyond measure. To be blessed beyond measure, it means that I can't measure, I can't add up the blessings. I can't tell you exactly what it is. I don't allow somebody else to even try to tell me what it is, right? Yah can tell me what it is because He's the only one that is the immovable object, right? He's the only one that can be claimed to be the immovable object and the unstoppable force. The only one who can claim to be the immovable object and the unstoppable force. If Yah measures it, right, He's going to give it to me pressed down, shaken together, and running over, right? Given it shall be given unto thee, Elohim's measure, pressed down, shaken together, and run over, shall men give it to your bosom. For with the same measure that you meet shall it be given unto thee. But Yah's measure is always longer than yours. It keeps buffering. I'm sorry. Is it buffering for everybody? Is it buffering on YouTube? Is it buffering on TikTok? I apologize. I'm trying. I don't really know if I have anything better for tonight, to be honest with you. If it's buffering in both places, it's okay. So we are looking at saying what, that you are blessed beyond measure. To be blessed beyond measure means that I not only cannot anybody else measure it. To be blessed beyond measure also means that I'm going to stop trying to measure it out. I'm going to stop trying to say that I'm blessed because I have this much money. Right? No problem, Sister Nadine. All right. Just said a quick prayer for you. All right. Maybe I need to figure out, what it, or stop trying to figure out how to measure it, at least by man's standards. I'm blessed because I've got a husband. I'm blessed because I have a wife. Well, does that mean that if you don't have one, you're not blessed? I'm blessed beyond measure. And I've got to stop relying on things, right, that measure, especially don't measure the Yah standards, to be able to tell me whether I'm blessed or not. Remember, Avra, or in Hebrew, in Paleo Hebrew, barak, literally, which is the word blessed for us. It means bit, or it comes from the characters bit, resh, kaf, meaning that the son who comes out of the right family, who is our head, has us in his hands. That's what barak means. The son who comes out the right family, right, who's one with the Father, by the way, right, but the son who comes out the right family, right, the fact that I'm in the family of Yah, even, means that he has become my head. And as he is my head, I am in his hands. That's what it means to be blessed. This is what it means. This is what it actually means to be blessed. And many people are busy trying to figure out how to measure their blessings outside of the hand or the will of Yah. Right? Many people are trying their best to figure out, how can I measure the immeasurable? How can I measure up to, how can Yah, watch this, really, if we be honest, this is what you're doing. How can Yah measure up to what the world says is blessing? How can Yah, this is what really people are saying, how is it that Yahweh Elohim can be able to be shown to the world how he is a blessing? How can we get the world to agree that the Most High is a blessing? And the answer is, of course, we cannot do that. Should we even try? Should we attempt? Of course not. But that's what we try to do. How can we get the world to 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 believe that Yah is a blessing? And once again, the answer is not. It's not on us to do so. It's not even on us to pretend to do so or to think that we can do so. Right? But that's how a lot of people live. How can we get Yah to believe and catch on and trust and get the world to agree with everything? How you doing, Coco? How you doing, babe? My wife is on, the Honorable Maya. As always, you can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. That A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. But that's what a lot of people do. With what a blessing is. But if I'm blessed beyond measure, part of that mindset means that I'm blessed beyond through their mindset. Everybody in the world begin to measure out the blessings of Yah. Measuring tape. They don't ask for the measuring tape. Get out my way with that measuring tape stuff. I'm going ahead and I'm doing what I see. I keep saying measuring tape shows you what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm doing, right? So I wouldn't look for those things. I wouldn't look for somebody, right? Or somebody would look for me rather than be baking. I don't know what I'm doing. Right? I don't use it, but if you ask for measuring tape, now I'm not great with construction per se, but if you ask me about measuring tape, maybe I can do that, right? But I have to even be in the position of using the measuring tape. And we keep forgetting that Yah has blessed us beyond measure. There's somebody who has blessed us beyond measure. Somebody's trying to measure up or trying to tell you why you don't measure up or trying to tell you why Yah does not measure up. And the reality is that he has blessed you beyond measure. If he has blessed you beyond measure, why are you trying to let people tell you how to measure it? We say these things if we don't believe them. Yah has blessed me beyond measure. Okay, then why do you keep paying attention to what everybody says? He's blessed me more than I can, he can do exceedingly abundantly, he can do exceeding abundantly above all that I could ever ask or think according to the power that he's placed within me. But then let your best friend or let your cousin or somebody say, I don't know if what you're doing Yah agrees with, and now you done lost your mind and you're crying and you're losing sleep. And I'm not saying that emotions are not real. I'm just saying, dang, just 2 seconds ago you were saying that you were blessed beyond measure. Why is it that somebody's ruler that doesn't even add up equate to something you're trying to use? You know that old term that our ancestors used to say? They said you can't, your arms are too short to box with Yah. Because they don't measure up. Like, why would we keep trying to get in this contest with people where we're trying to figure out how Yah measures up to their standards? He's not supposed to. Can we just answer that? Can we just answer that real quick? How do we get people to see that Yah measures up to their standard? He's not supposed to. That's the answer. Well, no, let's look for the book of this. And if we go to the book of Psalms, and if we go to this division of Psalm, if we go to the 22nd Psalm where it tells you that what Yahashua said on the cross, and if we go to Barashat, and if we go to Shemot, and if we go to this and talk about the festival of this and the feast of this, we show how, look, some people don't care. I love it. I need it. But this is not for everybody. Right? Yah's not trying to measure up to everybody's standards. And if that is where you are, then you are going to have a tough time in life. You are blessed beyond measure. Your blessings that come do not measure up according to the world's standards. Some of us know what it is to say, I'm blessed because I ate something today. The world would say, who cares? You're not a boss. You're not balling. You don't make this much amount of money, whatever. Bump that. I'm blessed beyond measure because my measurements don't come from you. Because at the end of the day, here's another old saying from our ancestors. You ready? Have you ever seen a U-Haul attached to a hearse? Of course not. Because guess what? At the end of the day, they can't take it with them, right? Because that's not a measurement of what allows you to be in eternity. So why use that on your measuring stick? Matter of fact, why believe that Yah would use it on his measuring stick? If I am blessed beyond measure, then I'm blessed beyond all this foolishness they're saying. Now, what's on Yah's measuring stick? What does Yah say is a blessing? Oh, watch this. Yah says it's a blessing not just that you can pray to him, not just that he hears your prayer, that he answers your prayer. Yah said the blessing is, I hear your prayers. We're so quick to be like, I can't wait. I haven't got the manifestation yet, but I'm gonna keep on praying. I haven't got the manifestation, but no. Just because I haven't got the manifestation doesn't mean that Yahweh hasn't heard it. That's a blessing to be heard. You don't believe me? Be in a relationship long enough with somebody that doesn't hear you. See what happens. See, some of y'all missing it. There's not a brother on the planet that wouldn't prefer. Well, you know what? Maybe there is. That's why some of y'all be losing these relationships. But for real, there ain't a real husband, at least in our culture, on the planet, that would not rather be with somebody who hears them than somebody who never hears them but is fine all day. Because fine runs out at times. Fine is not going to be, look, fine is not the only delineation or the only, that's not even the word I'm looking for. Fine, you know what? Matter of fact, I had two words going together in my head. Let me use this one, though. This is better. Thank you, Holy Spirit. If you are just looking for something that's fine, you are going to end up delinquent on a lot of stuff in your life and have to relinquish a lot of things in your life. Right? If you're looking for, hey, she's perfect in all her ways, first of all, there's no such thing. And secondly, if you're not gonna have somebody that hears you and respects you, at some point, brother, you're gonna be in trouble. Sister, I promise you, it's more important that he hears you than you make sure that you at the gym every day. I'm not saying don't get yourself in shape. I'm just trying to tell you, as a man, as a husband, right, on a different level than man, hear me as a husband. We'll need more. Wives, right? Same thing, right? What's more important to you? Wives will sit up there. I just want the money. 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 A wife. I didn't say a woman. I didn't say whatever y'all want to call it, gold digger and all this stuff or whatever, even though sometimes it's their love language is gifts, but whatever, right? I said a wife on the highest level, right? That a female can be on as far as we're talking about physical female, right? The spiritual wife is different than the physical wife, but you should be both, right? And the physical wife, the wife, she should be somebody that what? That receives security and affection. She's somebody who multiplies. She's somebody who helps you to be able to take a seed or take a word or take a vision and be able to make it multiply. But in the world, that doesn't measure up, does it? The world says, "Hey, make sure you dress up, make sure you get this, make sure you get that." I mean, sisters are accidentally offing themselves because they're trying to get artificial behinds, they're trying to get artificial breasts, they're trying to get artificial hips. They're losing their thighs so they can have more hips and more behind. And then when they get the surgery, they can't even afford to, they're given so much money that they can't even afford to make sure they have a hotel. They can't afford to make sure they delay their flight. They can't even sit down on the flight because of the surgery, but they're supposed to sit down on the flight. I mean, we're getting to a place to where we got to start seeing something deeper than what we're doing. We got to start getting to a place to where it's deeper. Hold on one second. So we have to get to a place to where this is, you know, we stop trying to measure up to the world or stop trying to see if Yah measures up to the world. It's impossible, first of all, because Yah's not supposed to measure up, nor should we try to have him measure up. Yah is something that the world cannot measure up to. And if I'm blessed beyond measure, right? If I'm blessed beyond measure, it means that I've got to stop trying to figure out how to make sure that my blessings fit into the world's standards. If I'm blessed beyond measure to give a word, hey, how you doing, Trauma Shaman? If I'm blessed beyond measure to give a word, right? Then why am I trying to see if my word fits in with somebody who has common sense? I'm a king. I have kingdom sense, not common sense. Right? What I do is beyond measure. They can't measure up to it because they can't measure up to Yah. And by the way, Yah is beyond measure compared to me too. But if he blesses me, that means that he blesses me beyond measure. And if I'm not careful, right, I'll get so stuck up that I'll think that he's blessing me because I deserve it or because I measure up. No, he's blessing me because, watch this, he's trying to get me to a higher level. He's trying to get me to a higher level. Blessed beyond measure, right? Somebody tries to tell you you're not this, you're not that tonight. Somebody tries to tell you you're not worthy enough, you're not great enough, you don't make enough money, you don't make enough sense, you don't have enough people that are after you, you don't have enough girlfriends, you don't have enough guys sweating you. What does that stuff matter in the grand scheme of things? Truly, like what does it actually matter to have those things? You know, I meet a lot of people, and I've met people who were players and had all the stuff, had all the girls, looked at them like they were stuff and not girls. And they said, "Yeah, I'm done." Like after a while, you get tired of it. I know what it is to read books written by pimps who will tell you that pimps are nothing more than whores who who didn't like the feeling of being whored out and decided that they would pimp women and never themselves be whored out again, never be Georgian. Right? Like it doesn't measure up. It doesn't measure up. We keep trying to be something and become something that does not measure up. It doesn't measure up. And be okay. So watch this. When you follow Yah standard is not the world standards. Yah standards is not the world standards. So there's certain things you're just not going to measure up in as far as the world is concerned. But you are blessed beyond measure. It should never be, you should never lower yourself. You should never lower your standard so much that you're not trying to make sure that you live beyond measure. Stop lowering your standard to I'm only worthy if I have this many likes or views on a video. That's that you're measuring out wrong. It's not going to work in this recipe. This recipe doesn't call for more money than everybody else. So I'm saying because I don't have as many of subscribers, right? This recipe doesn't call for subscribers. So I'm talking about I don't have as many people calling me on the phone as when I was really balling like that. This recipe doesn't call for people who are going to be calling you on the phone. This is a different recipe. Right? If you're going to live by this recipe doesn't call for the things that you can't that you put on the U-Haul truck, because when you hit that hearse, the U-Haul truck that's attached to the hearse isn't going to matter anyway. Right? As much as we want to honor the Kemetic ways, and I'm not mad at a lot of the Kemetic ways, for sure, right? For sure. Can we admit though that it doesn't matter how much stuff you bury with you, you can't take it. You had a lot of gold, but you couldn't take it. You had a lot of slaves, some, not all. This is a misconception. Some had a lot of slaves that were buried with them, but they couldn't take it. Because that's not in the recipe for eternity. Your heart being as light as a feather has nothing to do with your sarcophagus being made out of gold. It didn't. They conflated, even in their own religiosity, even in their own culture, they messed it up. That was never part of the recipe. That was never part of the herbs and spices. You know, it was that self-worth. Yeah, it was is in self. But even in that, the worth, even if you want to talk about universal wealth, well, that's the worth of the one who made the universe. Why not turn to them? Once again, stop putting yourself down. Stop putting yourself down, lowering yourself. A lot of people keep lowering themselves underneath standards that are not the standards for you since before the foundations of the earth. Before Arats came into existence, you had already been called, claimed, remembered, established, and had a culture ready for you, and the whole planet was created just for you. I told you guys this the other day when we were still in Sedona. When we were still in Sedona, how my son and I were walking. That's the story. See? My son and I were walking, and as we were walking, we were seeing the sights, we're seeing the mountains, we're seeing all these different things. And I made a point to tell him, I said, son, have you ever, I want to give you a thought as we're walking today. And we'll close on this, being beyond measure. I said, son, as we walk here today, I want you to look at the mountains. I want you to look at the sun. I want you to look at all these different things that I thought I would never see at one point in my life. I never thought I'd be walking with my child and letting him see this stuff at the age he's seeing it. I said, son, you realize that Jehovah created all this stuff, not just so that it could exist, not just even so that we could say a rock wouldn't cry, that could cry out and all this stuff. I said that Yah even made this for us, you and I, because he wanted us to be in this moment. He made an eternal decision for this moment in time, just for you and I, son. I said, pay attention and remember this. I said, he allowed me and you. I said, I appreciate your life so much right now. I said, I appreciate you, son, so much for being in my life and being here at this moment in time. Because I said, we didn't have to be together and we didn't have to be here. And I appreciate Yah because he didn't have to put this together. But he didn't just put this together for any reason. He even put part of why he built these mountaintops and all this, he built this stuff just for you and I. So, huh?
Drink one.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I said he even did this in this moment just for us. So he did something that was beyond measure. I can't tell you how he did it. I can't tell you what. Matter of fact, there are a lot of people in the world that would say, I do not measure up to it. That doesn't mean that just because I don't know how I measure up, that he didn't do something beyond my own measurement. So remember that this week. Remember that today. Remember that tonight. See you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys do well. I got to get ready for class. Remember class. There will be no class at 8:30 p.m. Eastern New York time today for Sovereignty 1. We put out a recording and we put out a reminder as well in the Google Calendar invite. You need to make sure that we get together and we set up our schedule so that we can make sure that we have our meeting to go over your DS11 forms. But other than that, we thank you guys. We appreciate you. I'll see you guys for Sovereignty 2 at 9:15 p.m. Eastern New York time. Thank you so much again for your time, talent, effort, energy, stuff you do in front of the scenes, behind the scenes, all that. And as always, please check out my wife. We give all honor and praise to the Most High, Yehovah Elohim. We give all praise and honor to him for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that's able to be honored. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. Thank you guys so much. As always, it's been Pastor Kofi. Pastor Servant to Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being the voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. And until I have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again, please remember as always that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in the system no longer have to be at them. Shalom, family. Talk to you soon. Peace.